Okay, welcome to Graphic Design. Today is February 19th, 2020. We are missing today Julia, and Grace, of course, is never here on Wednesday. And Hawken is sometimes late because he's commuting. All right, so today, your screens are off, please. What I need to do is I need to review a couple of things. I do want to give you guys hopefully half the period for you guys to try some things out on your own on this Australia picture that we did last time. As you can see, this one here, I've already taken out half of the wake of that boat. Now, obviously, if you leave the picture like that, it is totally obvious that somebody photoshopped it because you know that there should be wake behind it, and you know, well, why is that wake just cut off all of a sudden? But obviously, if you do a good enough job, oh, sorry, my screen is frozen. Let me unfreeze my screen. Oops, sorry. I've been talking with my screen frozen. Okay, so we have the wake right there. But obviously, you can tell that it's Photoshop. But if you zoom in and, well, if I finish getting out the rest of the wake on that side and this side, hopefully it should look pretty believable, right? I mean, if you look at that right now with that zoomed in, I would say you'd have to say that's pretty believable that there is not any wake there. And obviously, I didn't go in pixel by pixel and just, just choose different colors for each pixel. So last time we were talking about two different tools. We were talking about the healing tool and the clone tool. They're both very, very similar. And so sometimes it's better to use one than the other. So I'm going to demonstrate both use cases. When should you use the clone tool? When should you use the healing tool today? It's kind of like, when should you use a sword and, let's get into modern times, yeah? When should you use a knife and when should you use a scissor? They both cut. Well, I mean, obviously, sometimes it's better to use a knife to cut something. Sometimes it's easier to use a pair of scissors to do that work. So it just depends on the task at hand. So that's why there's two different tools in real life, scissor and knife. And obviously, I hope you know when to use each one of those. So same thing, clone tool and healing tool, two different tools, similar things. They both will let you Photoshop things. Okay, so what I've done here, I just want to show you guys this picture of this girl with some acne. And so this is the picture that I want to demonstrate on because this will help you understand. And I also have a picture of Chicago, yeah, that I want to show you guys, and I'm going to demonstrate on that one. Well, if I want to do some work on this one, I would probably actually use the cloning tool, the healing tool for her. The healing tool for her. And for this picture of Chicago, I would probably actually use the cloning tool, not the healing tool for this one, right? So those are our two different tools. And so just to give you an idea of what's going on here, I don't know if you guys can see it. Yeah, you can, on my projector. You can see, for some reason, and I'm not sure why, this isn't my picture, obviously. For some reason, on the left-hand side of her, the wall is white. On the right-hand side, the wall is like a greenish tint. Can you tell that, right? So I don't know why that is, but that's actually helpful for us because I want to show you the difference between these two tools. She does have a towel on her head, but this is not towel. This is wall right there. Is that towel? Oh. Oh. I think you're right. I thought that was wall. Definitely that's oh yeah, I can see a sliver of green. Thank you, class. You guys are so observant. I'm like, why is the wall two different colors? That doesn't make sense to me, but oh, good eye, guys. All right. Well, anyways, I'm glad that wall is green because here's what I want to do. I want to show you guys definitively what the difference is between these two tools and therefore which one you should use in different cases. So let me start off first with the clone tool. I have a knock on the door. Hang on. Hey. Oh, it didn't work? Okay, all right, thank you very much. Thanks. Okay. All right. Let's see here. So let me go ahead and use a clone tool first. It's going to do what you think it does. If you hear the word clone, what do you think? Shout out some words. Copy, duplicate. That's right. An exact, it's supposed to be an exact duplicate. So when you hear the clone tool, so let me click on the clone tool. Again, step one, well, let me increase my brush size just a little bit because that's really small. Okay, step one, you have to sample. So I'm just going to click right in between her eyes, right here. I'm going to hold down Control and click. And see, now I have a sampling point right there. I know you guys can't see it, but there's a crosshair right there in the middle, right there. So now I'm going to take my, now that I've sampled, by holding down Control and clicking a region, now let me go ahead and draw, based on that sample, right here on this green wall. Oh, why am I on like the calligraphy brush? But I'm not on a circular brush for some reason. I'm not sure why. But, well, what's going on there? It's doing an exact clone of it. Look, Michigan, why isn't it doing any more up here? It's cutting me off right there because that's where the picture cuts off. Look, do you see the crosshair? Look at her forehead right now. As I move my brush up, it's sampling upward. Now, it's not sampling anymore because there's nothing else to sample. And you do have to be careful not to sample into where you've sampled, right? I mean, some people accidentally sample into different regions. So this is the clone tool right here. And let me go back to a brush. Why am I on, hang on, sorry. Tool options. Oh, that's why, because I'm on the, let me go back to a normal brush tip. How about that? There we go. Let me try that again. Control, click, and draw. See? There it is again. And obviously I can change my brush size. And so now it's bigger. Okay, but there it is. It's drawing her. It's drawing her. That's what the clone tool does. And this is really, really useful for some parts of photoshopping, like this picture of Chicago here, which I'm going to show you guys in just a minute. But for this picture of this lady with some acne, the clone tool is not the best option to use. The healing tool is. And now let me do the same exact thing. I'm going to click right in between her eyes, Control click, to sample, to set your sample region. Now let me draw here on the wall. Oh, dang, it's really laggy. But, hang on. Whoa, I don't know why it's so laggy. Maybe it's my recording software. You know what? Control Z. Let me sample right on her eye. It's going to be easier to see what I'm doing here. Sample right on her eyeball, and I'm going to draw right here. And there is some big lag right here. Okay. Let me zoom into that. Is that an exact clone of what I sampled? No. What it's trying to do, now, do you notice the green wall's still green? And her face is not green? But it is over here? Well, the reason why that's happening is because it's trying to blend two things, color and texture. When it finds texture, it's trying, like obviously there's texture for her eyelashes and her eyebrows. It found that texture, and there's also texture for the skin, but it's a little bit harder to see. There's texture for almost anything. It's taking that texture and blending it with the wall's texture, because believe it or not, yes, wall does have texture as well, right? And it's taking the two colors, let me zoom out, it's trying to blend the color of her skin and the color of the wall. So it's blending texture and color. So that's the do you guys clearly see the difference between cloning and healing now? This is healing, and this is what I recommend we do to get rid of some of her acne, right? So what I'm going to do, let's get rid of some of it right here. There's a lot to get rid of, so let's get started here. I'm going to need a sample, of course, near where there's no blemishes, but near where there, a clean area of skin, but where there's no blemish. So I'm going to click on, and I'm going to shrink my brush just a little bit. That's a little bit too big. Her blemishes aren't that big, so I want to go smaller. Sometimes size does make a difference there. I'm going to sample right here. Control, I'm on healing, yes. Control, click right here. And now I'm just going to click once here. And let me try drawing a little bit with it. And did you see it disappear? Let's try fixing this one right here. Again, I'm going to click once. Well, that kind of healed it a little bit. Sometimes you're going to have to give it a go around a few more times. See, even right here, let me go ahead. Let me resample, guys. You want to resample often because the shade will change, so resampling will help. Okay, let's sample here, and I'm going to draw right here. You have to be careful. The area, you see both circles are moving. I'm going to sample here, and I'm going to heal this area here. You don't want that other circle, the one without the crosshair, to go draw inside of where you're drawing, because that could mess some things up. Okay, let me sample here, and I'm going to draw a little bit here. Sample here, draw a little bit here. Sample there, draw a little bit here. Now, you have to be careful. Sometimes, if you're not careful, you'll bring artifacts along with you. And darn it, it's hard to see, but there is a vertical line right here that I've introduced into this area right here because I sampled an area with that. Okay, let's fix some more. Control here, click, click, get rid of that. Control there to sample, get rid of that. Okay, so you guys get the idea, right? That's pretty easy. Look how much I've healed some of her face. Now, there is still a little bit of redness, so let me click here and get a little bit more here. Get rid of some of that redness here. Oops, I have to be careful. I don't want to get into her eyelashes. Okay. Can you tell there's a difference? I hope you can. Now, there's still a lot more work to do, but I would say I could probably finish this in like, what, 5-10 minutes? It depends on how good of a job you want to do. You see what I'm saying? Even my hack job right now, I'm not being super careful, but I am resampling. Please do resample all the time. I'll have students leave the sample from here and then try to, see the circles right there, and then try to fix something on this side. Well, I know she has the same skin tone, but she's not 2D, she's 3D. There's something called lighting. And the way that the lighting is hitting that side is going to be different from the way the lighting's hitting this side. And so that can affect how believable it looks. But I would say there's a really good improvement already on her skin from there. Okay, so that's healing. Healing does a good job of blending things in. Does that make sense? Any questions on healing? So now let's take a look at why wouldn't I want to use cloning? Well, cloning would be okay, but it'll give you exactly the same thing. See, and I don't want that. I want it to actually be more natural looking and fade it in and blend it in. So the healing tool works great for that. But if you want an exact duplicate, and sometimes you do. So let me show you the example that I showed you at the beginning of class. Remember I showed you guys this building here and I took it out? Here's where you want to use cloning for. So let me go ahead with this picture here. I'm going to try to take this out. Now, and also, once I teach you both of these tricks, you would be able to, on this picture of Australia, you would be able to really easily, obviously, fix up this wake. I would use the healing tool for that. But something like maybe take out one of these buildings. Oh, I already started working on taking out one of those buildings. There used to be a building there, but I didn't finish. I did a hack job. I was just practicing. But there used to be a building right there. And I haven't finished taking out, you see the base of it still there. But it would be nice if you guys try to go ahead and take out a building and rebuild a different building. This building actually was in the way, and it was actually cutting off part of this building here. And so I filled it in, not very believably, but I'll show you guys what I did right here on this example. So I'm going to take out this white building right here, whitish gray building, and obviously behind it is this brown building, which we're going to have to then fix and fill in. So let me show you guys how it's done. And see, there's this other white building that is on top of it. So let me show you guys this part first. What I would recommend is your brush that you choose to do this is very important. You do not, when you're cloning, usually when you're cloning, you don't want faded, you want preciseness. So I would tend to err for something a little bit more solid, like this circle. The problem is, this circle is a circular shape, obviously, and I actually want to paint downwards, so I actually I prefer using these rectangle brushes for my clone work. Okay? So, sorry, zoom out. I grab this rectangular tool here. I'm going to show you real quick. Let me shrink this brush. It's too big. Open and close parentheses. That's how you shrink and grow your brushes. Okay, I'm going to grab this right here. I've made about the same width as this building here. And I'm going to use a cloning tool. And I'm going to sample. Now, I want to sample a little bit higher up because I need to draw at least, pretty a lot. And I don't want to do a hack job at it. So I'm going to sample near the top here. Control click. There, I've just sampled that region. Now, careful now. When I go down here, it must line up with the other ones. Otherwise, it won't look believable. And also you need the windows lined up too. You see how there's vertical lines and horizontal lines representing the buildings with the windows? So where you put it and where you start actually makes a difference. So sometimes you're going to have to undo. So I'm going to click here and start drawing. See? Oops, I've hit into, see, look at this red that just showed up here. I've hit into my sampling region, hit into my drawing region, and so that's why it started draw the top of the red building that used to be here. See how it says Marriott there? Well, you can't see it, but I think that says Marriott in red right there. So the sampling region, so I'm going to click again. Let me try that again. Click and drag down. Isn't that easy? Right? And so obviously, well, what happens when your sampling area reaches there? Well, click and drag again. Try doing that again. Click and drag again. And then keep on clicking and dragging. Now I'm doing a hack job real quick, but I just wanted to show you guys how it's done. Now obviously I can start drawing out here, but that's going to mess up everything else, right? See, Control Z, right? All right, so there it is. I'm going to pretend, let's just leave that alone there. I want to show you guys what I'm going to do with this bottom half, because I don't want to draw this white building all the way down. So here what you're going to want to do is you want to start using some other tricks. Here's what I'm going to do on this. Grab my selection tool, my rectangular tool. I am going to grab, oh, you know what, I might have gone a little bit too far on this one. Control Y. No, that's about good. Okay, that's about good. I'm going to go ahead and grab this rectangular shape, starting right here. Hang on. And going all the way out to where the corner starts. I'm going to select that region right there. Maybe I need to make it a little bit taller. I think I'll do that. Okay. Edit. Copy. Edit. Paste. Grab my move tool. Move it over. Grab this flip tool right here. Click on it. Click on this. Bam. And then I'm going to grab the move tool again. I'm going to line it up so that it is hopefully believable. Now click off here to anchor it, because it's a floating layer right now. And in fact, if you go to your layers window, you'll see it's a floating layer on top of this right here. But I'm going to permanently set it down. You don't have to. You could put it on a blank transparent layer, but I don't think I'm going to need that anymore. So I'm just going to click on the background. It's now permanently anchored there. See, look. Now, obviously, there's some more things I have to clean up. I have to clean up down here. I'd actually take this street and draw it in more, right? Taking this gold color of the lit streets and draw that over. There's a lot of things that I need to do. Let me see again. I think I still have the original picture here. Hang on. That I showed you guys. But now that you guys are looking at it, might as well show it to you. Pictures. Here it is. Let's open that up. Okay, original, and there it is, completely gone, except I forgot that sliver there, right? That was a mistake. I left that sliver, that white building. But see, look at this building down here, right? Isn't that pretty good? Don't you think that was a pretty good job? There was only half that building. The other half was covered up by the white building that was in front of it. Does that look believable? And the rooftop, I fixed the rooftop. And look, the street that was missing before, I filled in the street. Again, look, this is where we're at right now with this. So you can see the street is not filled in, right? But if you do a good enough job, it will look pretty nice. There it is. Okay. Questions on the clone tool, or questions on, and see, this building looks pretty believable too. Look at that. Wouldn't you say? Let me see. Can you see any repeating patterns? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay, take a look. These three lights right here are these three lights right here. I mean, most people aren't going to look that detailed. And this blob of lights here is the same as this blob of lights, but a little bit faded right here. And this is the same thing as that right there, I believe. So there are some repeating patterns, but not easy enough to actually see and notice unless you're really, really looking for something, right? Okay, so, well, tell you what, we still have 20 minutes of class, half the period. So what I would like for you guys to do as a challenge, what I would do is I would try to take out some of the wake off of the boat. I would try to see if you can get rid of a palm tree. Try to get rid of this buoy. That would be one of the easiest one. And a reflection. There's actually a reflection in the water right here you have to get rid of as well on that. And if you finish that, you can try taking care of one of those buildings. And if you're done with that, you could actually open up this picture. This one's probably the easiest one to work on. You can open up this one. It's in, I think I already uploaded it. I'll double check. Or the Chicago one, this one that I've been working on. So start with the Australia one, and then do a little bit, and you can open up this one as well. This one's the easiest one. You know what? Maybe some of you guys should start here today, actually. Try to fix all of her acne using the healing tool. All right, go ahead. You can play around with any one of these 3 pictures, I would say. And again, the easiest one is fixing the acne on her face using the healing tool. So maybe that's the best place to start. Turn on your computers and your screens if they're not already on. And that's it for the lecture for today. 20 minutes of practice, and I will end the video here.